Hi, today I'll explain in detail how I made $40,000 in 2 trading days with this beautiful trade on Euro USD. I was risking no more than $4,000 and my entry, as usual, was with great precision and zero drawdown. We will study how I called the whole plan and execution of the trade in real time inside of my mentorship, which actually very few traders do. They always show you screenshots, but show me someone who makes the whole plan, shows the real execution in real time, and they profit from it. We will see how I predicted the weekly expansion and how I adapted my plan as the week was unfolding and Monday was developing and Tuesday. Obviously, how I entered my trade with maximum precision live in front of my students, and how I managed the trade to close at the absolute high of the move, which was so epic. I'm very excited to show you. Furthermore, we'll see all the psychological struggles to hold a trade over 2 days. Because you know that you have a lot of fluctuations in your profit once you're holding a trade during multiple hours. I went multiple times from $25,000 in profit back to $10,000 in minutes or a few hours. That's why I want to show you how to manage your risk and remain objective at all times, letting the chart and the market tell you what's next, and not closing the trade emotionally just because you see your P&L go up or go down. Lastly, as a little surprise, the prior Friday before this trade, I took another trade, which was another long on Euro USD, where I made $30,000 in 15 minutes. It was so crazy, and it was also one of the biggest crashes in the recent history in the stock market. It was when Trump imposed tariffs again on China, and obviously the trade was called live in real time in front of my students, so I would love to review that trade for you in the end of the video. I believe one of my great students, Kevin, who is in Florida, that he's making 20k months consistently. This week actually he made $16,000. I can put the message here that he just wrote on the group. He also made $9,000 in 50 minutes with the same exact trade that I took after I shared my signal. I am Moises. I'll tell you, I've made over $1 million trading at 24 without taking into account my investments. I started this channel to share the real truth about how the market works and show you how to trade the right way to build real, long-term wealth. I am confident that I have the best mentorship in the trading industry, not just because of the value, but how it's provided and how personal it is and the results that my student gets. I never see people on other mentorships doing 70k, 40k months and weeks. If you would like to apply, you'll find all the details on the link in the description below. You can watch the video where I explain everything that you need to know, and then you can book a call with me. I'll get to know you, see what your objectives are, and I will help you get there. And I wanted to show you before we begin, these are some of the recent wins from some of my students in the past weeks. And as I always like to say, one of my favorite quotes, "Whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap." Once you have the right information and mastery, becoming a profitable and consistent trader is inevitable. So I'm truly grateful for everyone who trusted me in the beginning when no one knew who Moises was. And when I started my mentorship 1.5 years ago, and now they reap great rewards, they are enjoying the fruits of their labor. Let's begin now with one of my favorites and best videos. Let's begin as always, understanding the higher time frame plan. What was happening on the chart? What was the narrative? So by knowing that, I can know what is next, and therefore everything will unfold from there. The entries on the lower time frame, the higher time frame candles expansions, it all will come from me knowing where is price going next and making a plan accordingly. That's how I can make money every week consistently. And the first question that comes to my mind is, what am I expecting for the weekly and the monthly expansion? What is going on the chart? We have been on this higher time frame range for a while on EU, and we swept all the highs, form a key candle. You can see here daily KC. And this was a daily key swing, which is very important to know if we'll continue lower or we just do a false breakout here and continue higher. However, on this case, we broke this low truly in this specific candle right here. And as soon as I saw this, I said, okay, I have a target now. We're going at least to the weekly key swing and the monthly candle range low, which is pretty much the same level. It's here. So my overall bias, my overall plan is bearish. However, within my bearish plan, I can expect several things. Like if I see certain things like forming a daily candle range here, I can expect a retracement into the breaker to then short and continue lower. And I can trade this move. If I have a plan of price expanding to my key level to then drop, I have two trades. I have the long that I can take here to my key level and then the short down. And that's what happened. It's this long that happened here into my key level, which was the daily breaker, which was formed as soon as we broke this low truly. Now, when the week started, I was waiting because we opened the week right here. You can see I put this line. Here's where we started the week. And Monday was a bank holiday. So I had no rush to enter any trade. I didn't take anything on Monday. I was just waiting patiently to let the market tell me what's next. And we opened and we just went straight down. We formed a range and here we finished Monday. We formed this low, had this move to the upside. And then Tuesday, what happened? A classic Monday range. We went down and many people here is where you'll get confused. Because pay attention that we never sweep this low actually. But we had SMT with British pound. You can see here that on British pound, we actually swept the low. We swept it twice, once here, then we formed a low, and this is the real low, which is the cleanest way, it's the easiest trade to enter. This is telling you two things, which is that Euro doesn't need to dig again into the low because British pound already took it. And also, that Euro is stronger than British pound. British pound is weaker. Therefore, if you want to long, you want to favor longing on Euro USD because it will be more smooth. It will go higher. You'll get more pips. And unfortunately, the people who don't look at these market correlations or they're not aware of always looking at DXY, British pound when you're trading Euro USD, well, they will be expecting this low to be taken because they'll be thinking, oh, equal lows, this needs to be taken. No, but we have already taken it. It doesn't need to be taken. And then here we form a low on the lower time frame and we expand higher. Now this long, I was super close of taking it here after we form a 15-minute key candle at the low, but I was a little bit hesitant, so I decided to wait and I missed it. I didn't take anything because I didn't want to take the long here with a 50 pips stop loss because I usually like to have a larger position size. I could have taken it, but it's, you know, I always like to be more precise. So I decided to wait. But there are several things now that they have developed into the chart that they're giving me a plan for what is next for the weekly expansion. And now I can adapt on it and I can look for a trade. There are three things that happen here, which is showing us that we have more upside to come for the week. For Wednesday, we can expect to continue higher. And Thursday, it will depend of if we do a true breakout or a false breakout of this level, which we'll see now. What are these three things that are telling us we're going higher? Firstly, we have Monday range. We did a false breakout of Monday low with SMT at the overall low from previous week. And we broke truly the 1 hour key swing, which is this specific high here that digs into the previous swing low, sweeping all these lows, and then we expand and break it truly. As soon as we break this truly, we're expecting at least a move to the 4 hour key swing and the daily candle range high, because here this was a daily candle range, this was the low, SMT with GU. So flip the 50% of this, which is here, go to the high. So these are the three things: Monday range, breaking the 1 hour key swing truly and forming a breaker here, and we know that for sure we're going next to the 4 hour key swing and the daily candle range. These are the three things that are showing me that we have upside. Now I want you to observe something that is very curious, which is that Tuesday we finish the day here, and then Wednesday, as soon as we open, we go straight up, and we take Monday high, which was here, which we didn't take it on Tuesday. However, the key is that the main target that we have for this move, which is the 4 hour key swing and the daily candle range high, we have not taken it yet. So what am I expecting as soon as I see this? I say, okay, any opportunity that we get below a low, such a 15-minute key swing, or this one that is the 1 hour key swing, I want to look for a false breakout to look for a potential long, at least to this target. And that's what I thought. I thought, okay, I have not taken any trade yet for the week, and I'm gonna wait for an opportunity now to take a very high probability long, because this is a very common pattern that if you are usual in the channel, you know that I love, which is that before hitting the real key level, the real target for the move, we fall short of it by 10 or 5 pips, and then we do a retracement, sweeping liquidity to induce people in the wrong direction, and then we get the real move into the key level. And that's exactly here, which is how I've made the majority of my best trades and my most money. It's with this kind of trades. So it's one of my favorites. That's why I'm very excited to explain it and show it to you. And you can see here on the mentorship Discord on Moises Trading, where I call all of my trades live, I update the plans, and I show my signals, you could say. I don't like to call it signals, I'm just sharing what I'm doing. But here I said this was Tuesday at 6 p.m. Switzerland time. And I said I like the Euro USD longs for tomorrow in the daily open, which is exactly what happened. Remember that we opened the day, we fell short of Monday high, and we went straight up into Monday high, but we fell short. And here I said to the daily breaker and the 4 hour key swing. Now the daily breaker is this shade that we see in here that we talked about in the beginning. This is the daily breaker. You can see that it's very close to the 4 hour key swing, which at the end is just a simple liquidity combined with a higher time frame key level, like a daily breaker. Then swing short of the year, explain on the live of yesterday, live 49, that we did a live analyzing all the major markets on Monday. And we made the exact plan. I mean, this that I'm explaining you, we planned it all live together on the mentorship live. And then we did it, which is so cool. This is at 3 p.m. Switzerland, which is 9 a.m. New York time, which is the New York Open. We know that the New York Stock Exchange opens at 9:30. However, I focus on the 4 hour candles, and I'm looking at the 9 a.m. 4 hour candle on Euro USD. And I say it will be nice to get the 1 hour key swing on Euro, do a false breakout there and long. It all depends on what happens here with the 15-minute key swing. What does this mean in normal vocabulary? Basically, I was saying that I would like a bigger retracement to the 1 hour key swing. Obviously, because I want to make more money, so if we get a bigger retracement, my long, I will make more money. That's the simple reason why I said that, but I said, I was staying objective. It all depends on what happens here. If we break this low truly, okay, we go to this one. However, if we break it falsely, as it happened, we're going higher. And since we broke it falsely, here's when I enter my trade. We made the low at 9. And here I was predicting a real market structure shift on the 5 minutes. You can see I entered 10 lots on this account. And in total I had 50 lots. And in total I had 40 lots. I had 10 on this account, 20 on another, and 10 on another. You can see here in real time what I was seeing, which was the 15-minute key swing. We had a 5-minute key candle, which this is the most advanced entry and the earliest one, and also the most risky, because you're predicting that we'll break truly the 5-minute key swing and then the 15. But obviously that allows you to have a bigger position size, because your risk, your stop loss is lower, even if you need to wait for some more confirmations. Here you can see DXY, also 5-minute key candle. This is the key swing, and I was looking at this specific low to be broken truly. And here's DXY on the more higher time frame. We also fell short of the target, which was a 4-hour key swing. We had equal lows. Here, 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 all these equal lows. And the 50% of this price leg from this low. So we have multiple confluences lining up on DXY, on Euro. Everything telling us that DXY is going lower and Euro is going higher. You can see it here on the chart, the 15-minute, with a false break at 9 AM, the best time for it to happen. And now for this low to be in, the most important thing here on the 15-minute is that we need to break this high, the 15-minute key swing. Until we don't break this, you cannot be confident that this is the low, because we can just come here and just keep going down. But let's study what happens on the 5-minute, because that can help us. Before that, I want you to observe one thing here, because on the Discord I said this. Right here on this specific candle that it's closing inside of this, I said 15-minute candle needs to not form a candle range. And as we just saw, it did it. It indeed did it. I'm still holding though. And then you'll see now what happens. This to show you my precision, that as soon as I saw this, I didn't want to see it, because I knew that now we're gonna get a retracement at least to the 50% of this candle, and you can see that we swept the low. And then is when we continued higher. Now, if we go to the 5-minute and 1 minute, we can get more information to be more confident and not be scared when you get this, which in the end, this is the most precise and safest entry. You enter here and price never revisits you again. You're chilling. You're chilling forever and it goes straight to your target. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Now here on the 5-minute, you might be wondering, Moises, are we breaking this high truly? What do you think when you look at this? Are we breaking this high truly? The answer is no, we have not broken it yet. And that's why we got the retracement. Therefore, this is still risky being on this trade, because the only thing supporting price here is the key candle, and also this 5-minute key candle is a 1-minute key swing. And that's exactly what we hold in here, and why you can be confident that if we hold the 1-minute key swing, you're chilling still. There's higher prices to come. This is what I'm talking about, this specific high. You see this level of precision? Even on the 1 minute, which is one of the least precise chart, when you understand the market deeply, you can get this level of precision and understanding and peace. Because if you know what is happening at all times, you're not here seeing this go down and suffering. No, because we have the 1 minute breaker, so what am I afraid of? This is actually an opportunity to enter and add to the position as soon as we form a low here. You wait, nothing. Here, as soon as you see this broken, you enter again. Now you have a bigger position size with stop loss here. And now from here we expand. And funny enough, again, we fall short of our target, which is this. So I'm not closing the trade, I'm holding it. Why? Because now we have a 5 minute breaker, which is a 5 minute key swing, which you can see how precise it is. And we also have the 15 minute breaker, this high that we're looking earlier. We break it truly. Therefore, now this section of here of price action, this range which form a real market structure shift, now this becomes the real support. And you can see how we retest it. We hold perfectly the 50% of the breaker, the 5 minute key swing for extra precision, and then we expand directly into the target. And when we were at the breaker, here's when I wrote at 17.17 about time for the XY to dump, obviously and euro to go up. And pretty much 8 minutes later, the Lord answered as usual. And it's when we started pumping. Here I wrote the target on DXY, which is the first one, 98.5, which is the 50% of the price leg, which is this target right here. And the second one is a daily breaker, 97.7, meaning if we don't form a low here on DXY and a high on euro, we're expanding lower to here, which interestingly here we had not just a daily breaker, but here we had a weekly gap from when we opened the previous week that we just opened with a gap up, and we went straight up the whole week. Therefore, usually when you have a higher time frame candle with no wick, like here, which is like a gap, it usually gets filled. It's like a fair value gap. It's like an inefficiency in the market that it will get filled again in the future. You can see my positions here, what I said, 10 lots, 20, and 10 with another account. The whole plan called live since Monday, when we did the live analysis. I predicted the 4-hour candle range and the move up. Here I'm saying my entry is a support. When we retested the breaker, one of my entries with this account, it was the actual low here on the retracement, and then we continue higher. You can see here very clean. Here I was complaining like a little kid, but come on, $650 for swap? Come on, that's high. Just for 20 lots. If I had 60, 100, okay, but for 20 lots, 683? Oh my god. And here is when things start to get interesting. Because we just hit the target, remember? Now, okay, we've hit the target, which was this high. It was a 4-hour key swing into the daily breaker, 50% of this price leg. We just hit it. So now we need to observe if this high is going to be broken truly or falsely. Because if we break it falsely, obviously we need to get out of our position and close it. We're not going to be holding there and take a loss or break even. No, you want to make the maximum amount of profit with understanding and objectivity. So I just need to wait now and let the market tell me what is next. Here I said this 4-hour key swing is so important. If we break it truly, we go to the daily key swing, which will be at the daily breaker and the 50% of the overall price leg, which is this. This exact target, which is where we made the exact high. Daily key swing is going to be here. 50% of the overall price leg from this high that we made, the highest high of the year on euro, to this low. It's here. And look at this. Look where we made the high. Look at this, you see it? The exact high. So obviously you can see here that we broke the 4-hour key swing truly, which this was not easy. I can show you now how I saw it and I manage it. But you can see something very interesting that we formed here, specifically with the wicks of the candles. And then we expanded to the target, which was the 50%. And you'll see how I close at the absolute high, like literally here on the wick. You only have like 5 minutes to close at this high, and that is where I closed. It was so epic. My last message for the day was this. Honestly, since I'm in this long, I would like that scenario to then take the swing short to the Jewish level, which is an insider joke that we have, the Jewish level, because private banking, I think it was in Q2 of this year, they sent me some predictions for all the markets, S&P 500, Nasdaq, Euro, British Pound, and they were expecting the year 2025 at the end of Q4 to close at 1.10. So that's why, as a joke, since it's like from private banking, we put it Jewish level. And one of my best friends is Jewish, Julian, so that's why I tag him as a joke. But yeah, what I meant here is that I prefer this move up here to the 50%, not just do a false breakout here at this high. No, I wanted to go higher to then take a short to the Jewish level. That's what I said. Here, I woke up 7 a.m., said I was sleeping, and I'm still holding the trade. You can see I was up $20,000 at the highs. I have 40 lots combined, and here's where some psychology comes in. I trusted the plan. You can see I moved my stop loss at entry, because if we are to continue, we don't have to come back into my stop loss. At least we can go to this low here, and if we break it truly, we're done with the trade. So I will have closed it. And even if I was $20,000 in profit, here's when we start to get a retracement, and I go back, I go down to $5,000 in profit combined, which is obviously pretty huge. Going from 20,000 down to 5,000 is not something that, if you're not used to it psychologically, it can affect you, and maybe you close the trade, or then when you're back again at 20,000, instead of holding it and make 40,000 like I did, you close it at 20K. Why? It's because of emotions, but you need to try to stay objective and let the market tell you what's next, and then follow accordingly. You can see what I had here live on my chart. That was in my phone because I was in the bed. But we form a 4-hour candle range here at the high. So 50% of the price, like we touch the daily breaker and we do a classic. We form a 4-hour candle range, meaning that this high, this 4-hour key swing, is not truly broken yet until we close above this specific candle. Therefore, my long is not yet fully safe to expect to hit the second target and make $40,000. Here you can see my positions at the real time. This is like 2:30 a.m. New York time, 8:24 in Switzerland. And let's observe this in the chart now with actual detail, because this is so important. This is, I would say, the key of this whole trade is this candle that we're seeing here. And what happens? We do a 4-hour candle range. As soon as we form a false breakout of the high of this candle, at least I expect a move to the 50%. However, look at this. Look at these candles. How are they closing? What are these candles telling us? That we're holding the 50% of this candle. You see that all the time we're closing above it. We're actually closing inside of this candle as well. And ultimately we go up, we hold it. If we look at the lower time frame, you can see that we're just ranging. We're not doing anything special. Here we form a 5-minute breaker. We had here 5-minute key swing. We broke it truly. We retested. Therefore, I was already expecting this retracement. This was in London. And I was expecting price to take this low, which we didn't actually. because we're holding the 50% of the 4-hour candle range and we just stay ranging. Here, London, New York ranging. And then you can see here exactly at the specific time. 9 a.m. starts here. We do nothing the whole day. And then 9:30 manipulation. And now we continue the expansion. We take this high. We don't form a key candle. We don't confirm it truly. Retest the fair value gap. Retest this previous range. And we continue higher. So then this is good. The only thing that would have made me close the trade here, remember our entries are in here on this range, is if we had broken truly this low. If price would have come here, broken this, I would have closed my trade almost at break even with very slight profit. But that never happened. So what did I do? I held my trade. What can I do? I'm gonna make more money. And this is after we got this expansion at around 10, 11 a.m. New York time. I said 50% of the overall price leg, 50% of the daily breaker, which has not been touched. Previous week low and the gap of last week open, which opened straight up with no wick. This is the target on DXY, is this Y rectangle that I have here. The main target, the first one, is where we are right now, that we're just ranging. That's why we're ranging, We're not ranging because it's a random level. We're ranging because it's my first target. And if it's a target, it's for a reason. It is because it's an important level where price could reverse. That is what a target is. It's not just some random high or low. Here I say I'm being patient. It's not easy though when you're $20,000 in profit and you could just close it right now. And price is just doing some BS all day. If we form a high here, I will close. I don't want to form a 50-minute key candle and do a bullshit range. You can see here that I was like mentally exhausted. The way I'm writing and talking is like, I don't want to go again from $20,000 in profit back to $5,000 because it's not pleasant, Because then that will mean daily candle range for tomorrow to the downside. Here I say DXY has not taken the low yet, which is a good sign of lower. I'm talking here with the 4-hour candle range low. And you can see here at 7 p.m. Switzerland, which is around just right after noon, like 1 p.m. New York time. Here we're already up $6,000. 12,000 and 6,200. Send it. Oh yeah, and at the beginning of the week, actually, I took a long that I got stopped on Euro. I wish I did not get stopped on this long. It would have been legendary because I took a long here. It was very risky. And it was a long on here. On this move right here. However, we got stopped at break-even. And then it's when we took the low on Tuesday, we formed the Monday range and we expanded. But imagine that we keep this long, or that we also add in here, it would have been so legendary because we predicted all this live, we entered later because we missed this. It's not that we missed it, but I didn't decide to enter. And then you can see that New York finishes here. So we've expanded and we closed here. And what I did is I stayed awake pretty much all night. I slept like 2 hours the night from Thursday to Friday because I wanted to monitor what will actually happen if we will form some sort of a high to just simply close the trade. And what I did is I saw that we were just expanding and I told one of my best students to call me. I had my phone in sound, so I just told him to call me if we form a high. And it was so crazy because I was so tired and it was like 6, 5 a.m. when I got into bed. And I went to sleep and suddenly 2 hours after I fall asleep, I wake up and we're here, we're expanding, pretty much hitting my target. And one thing I've always mentioned is that on these big targets, especially when we have been expanding like this in a not too much sustainable way, that we're just like grinding higher, we're not really forming any retracement to allow people to enter. I like to close my trade a little bit earlier in case the level gets front run. Because you see the 50% is here, and what we do, we front run it just by 2 pips. And that's what it was gut instinct, it was the Lord waking me up, because as soon as price was here is when I woke up with 2 hours of sleep. I had no alarm, no one texted me, it's just I suddenly woke up, I opened the charts. Here you see 7:44 a.m. and I went to sleep at like 6 a.m. I was talking with my woman, who she was also in the trade. And here I suddenly wake up and I'm $9,000 in profit, 9,230 and 18,180. Last step and we are out. And 15 minutes later at 8 a.m., which is 2 a.m. New York time, you can see here at the absolute high, I close it. You see here is the line of the 50% that we had. And at the absolute high, literally, it was so epic. You can see here the surprise trade I have for later of the previous Friday that had made 30k in 15 minutes, and also the trade on Monday that we got stopped. And here the entry. You can see with the other accounts as well. The position that got stopped. And the profits. 18,568 with a swap, almost $1,000 in fees. Here, 9,394 and 9,384. I closed them all at the same time. 40k trade, all call live in here from the plan we made live to the execution. Last Friday, 30k trade too. Absolute goat. Sold the absolute top, epic. You can see here. And from here, we just keep going down. This was the absolute high that you see here on the chart. It's this high. You only have like 5 minutes to sell here on this week, even less. These are quick wicks. And with 2 hours of sleep, it's like everything lined up for me to solve. It's like the Lord woke me up. It was so legendary. And we just went straight down the whole Friday, reversing the whole move. And here I wrote something important that I said, if every week you can catch the weekly range, the weekly expansion, that is how you can make $50,000 to $100,000 a week. Obviously, some weeks are better than others, meaning that there are weeks that we're ranging and it's not clear where we're gonna expand, and there are harder trades, but you can always find opportunities across all markets. That's why I don't restrict myself just to trade Euro USD or Nasdaq. No, I'm open to any great opportunity. I have my favorites like Euro or Gold or Nasdaq. But yesterday I took a trade on Bitcoin. I took a short and it was amazing. This short here on Bitcoin. This is yesterday, 13th of November. Once we had a big crash. Yeah, it was quite epic. I was actually like 5,500 in profit, but I decided to close for 3.5 when we got a retracement, which is not great, but it's some profit. I mean, obviously it's not that great compared to this trade that I'm just reviewing. There's nothing. Let's see now to end the video, the $30,000 in 15 minutes. We'll keep it more quick, this review, not that much in depth. And here's when I woke up. I wake up, Shit, now I got stopped in US 500 while sleeping and gold was break even. And I long EU. Okay, this is how we start the day. I long EU here, have a clean targets, and we're forming a pretty nice low, so it's looking great. And as soon as I share my screenshot, we just started pumping. Nice timing. And I say here, you always know everything with candle ranges. There are no random levels. So let's see how this trade unfolded. Because I like to call this trade the devil's trade. It was a pain in the ass the whole day. Because you can see I entered here at 10 a.m. And the move happened in 15 minutes at like 6 p.m. of that day. So it was kind of annoying. It was just doing nothing, price ranging in drawdown. We'll say it now. And the beauty is here. Look at this trade. Look at this beauty. As always, very precise, understanding what's happening at all times. And to begin with, what do we see? We had a 4-hour candle range here. Very obvious. We swept the low here of the 4-hour and the new 4-hour candle. We sweep it. And as soon as we see this, what do we know? Okay, that we go at least to the 50% of the 4-hour candle. And if we break the 50%, we go to the high. Which you can see that it's the absolute high of the week. This is on Friday. Now, things to keep in mind in Friday is that you can expect things like this, which is the volume to be more low, more ranging, more choppy. And here the news, they help us bring some volatility when Trump announced the tariffs on China. And as extra confluence to help us with the 4-hour candle range, we have a 1-hour candle range here. And you can see that the 1-hour candle range high is pretty much at the same level of the 4-hour candle range, the 50%. That happens a lot of times, and this is something that is a high probability for me. That's why I like the trade and I took it. What I did here, I waited for the lower time frame to form a low. And as soon as we form the 15-minute and 5-minute key swing and breaker is when I enter the trade here. However, something happened, which is obviously, as you can see, we rejected here from the key level, which is the 4-hour candle range, 50%, and we took the 1-hour candle range high. And we did it on London as well. That's why here now we stayed ranging until New York. See that the timing is never random. And that's why the trade was a little bit of a pain. Because instead of closing here for some profit, I decided to hold it with my entries in here. And I got into a little bit of drawdown. I had also 50 lots combining the trade, so the drawdown was a little bit substantial. It wasn't just like losing $2,000. And let's see the details of what I was seeing. Here I was seeing something that is one of the things I love to see on a trade, which is a 15-minute key swing like this one, which this low is so important because if we break this low truly, you know that this breaker that we have here on the 15 minutes, we're not going to hold it and we're going to continue lower. Therefore, it's like going all in. It's like, if this holds, I make money. If this doesn't hold, I'm out. And I love this because it's very clear, the plan. It's just, okay, we do a false breaker of the low, we go up. We do a true breakout, we go down. And that gives you a lot of freedom and peace and understanding that, you can just wait, patiently wait, and let the market tell you what's next, and you just execute. And that's what I did to add into my position. I had 50 lots in total, and I had some positions here, I added some here when it was dropping, but some of the main positions, I added them here after 9 a.m., after I saw that we're holding the breaker, and most importantly, this key candle, we were holding the 50%. Look, remember what we were saying earlier on the 4-hour candles, the wicks. that the wicks, they're just distractions. But look at the bodies. Look how we're closing. And that's why I was confident in adding into my position. And this is also before the news even happened. It's just looking at the charts. It's thinking logically. Letting the market tell me what's next. And then as extra, Trump came with the news of the tariffs of China. And DXY dropped as I wanted. And that's when we got this massive pump. And I closed here at the absolute high. Let's see it now on the Discord, because my reaction was pretty epic. Here I said send it. When I saw that DXY started dropping after being ranging all day. This trade has been pissing me off the whole day. I have 50 lots, lol. This was at 5 when we were just starting the move, before we did the big drop. This is the chart on the XY, by the way. Breaker, 1 minute key swing as a target. And that's exactly where we formed the low. You'll see it. And here's when we started. We got the crazy move. Oh my god. What an absolute banger of trade. Kevin also, fuck yeah, caught it too. $30,000 in like 15 minutes. Kevin, $9,000 in 15 minutes. It's always a great feeling to make great money on Friday because you go happy into the weekend. And you can enjoy and not think too much. If you lose on Friday, it's always a risk, trading Fridays, because you have low volume. You need to understand well the weekly candle, the weekly expansion, forming the weekly high, the weekly low. That's a trade I love taking. But obviously you need to be careful of not getting stopped because that can affect your weekend. If you get affected by losses, it can affect your psychology. And here I said the devil's trade this was. You see here when I added my entries. And I could have made more. I don't know what happened with Vantage, one of my private brokers, but it got laggy and I got scared, so I tried to close it and it wasn't doing anything, and suddenly closed my position here instead of closing it where I closed it with the other accounts that I closed it at the absolute high. It was quite annoying. But yeah, this was a $30,000 in 15 minutes with one of the biggest crashes in the stock market I've ever seen in my trading career. And it was quite funny because I was in a short. I was saying it. Remember when I woke up this day, I said I got stopped on my short on Nasdaq on US 100. And I just got stopped at the absolute high. And then we got one of the biggest crashes. Imagine that I don't get stopped there. It would have been generational run at that point. And yeah, crypto here was dumping so badly. Turned 74% down, it went almost to zero. Yeah, it was a crazy drop. But yeah, this is a long video, but one of my most valuable and proudest video. I'm very proud of how I did it, of how I explained all things, how I broke them down. And I know that for those who seek value, who seek mastery, who seek to be great, profitable, consistent traders, they will love this video. So this is a gift for you. I've given you so much information that you can use. And if you resonate with my concepts, with my psychology, my mindset, the way I am, I highly recommend you to join my mentorship. You can click the first link on the description where you can see the video that I explain a little bit my story and all the details of how my mentorship works, the prices and all these things. And then you can book a call with me and I'll get to know you. And if I like you, if you're a good person, if you're willing to work hard, I would love you to have you in and have you here in this community of savages. We have so many great and amazing persons that they're making great money every day and every week. So thank you very much if you made it so far into the video. I wish you the best of luck in your trading and in all your endeavors in life. And yeah, I'll see you very soon. I'm very glad to be back. God bless you. Bye bye.